I know that I can have peace knowing that God will use that seed that's planted and He can do anything and use it for His good.
At the end of June, we took a group of 8 high school students to New York City to experience Culture Camp.
Culture Camp was hosted by Envision, who has staff in New York City, and Envision is part of the Christian and Missionary Alliance, focusing strategically on short-term missions experiences.
One of the hearts of Culture Camp is to train and equip students to work with unreached people groups. And the group that we were assigned for the week was the Punjabi Sikh population. And we were working mainly in Queens, New York City, and just in an incredibly diverse area where the students were able to meet and experience not only the Punjabi Sikh religion, but many other religions as well.
The way the week was structured was such that the students got an in-depth chance at learning about their people group, as well as learning different ministry tools each day to be able to use when we were on site, interacting with the different people that we were either at the park or at the religious sites or in the community. Wherever we were, students were able to put into practice some of these tools that you're going to hear about later. And we just want to say this was an incredible team to work with. We so enjoyed, in fact, we laughed probably more than we've ever laughed before. And we just so enjoyed being with them and also seeing how God was doing a work in each of them and how He was growing them. And so we're so excited to be able to share a few of those stories with you.
Hi, my name is Nate and I just graduated from Valley Christian.
My name is Nuria, I go to Holgate. I'm gonna be junior this year.
My name is Aaron, I am in 9th grade and I go to Sentinel High School.
My name's Ethan, I go to Valley Christian and I'll be a senior this year.
My name is Margaret and I'm gonna be a junior this year and I go to Hellgate High School.
My name's Riley, I'm 16 years old and I go to Valley Christian School.
My name is Rylan. I'm going to Sentinel this upcoming year, and I'm going to be in 11th grade.
My name is Sandrine. I go to Hellgate High School and I'm going to be a senior.
We went there with our group from Missoula to join this culture camp where we go and we learn about different religions, and our group was primarily focused on the Punjabi region.
It was definitely an interesting people group for me because I didn't really know much about them, and I definitely learned a lot from them. In the mornings, we talked about good ways to connect with people, like asking good questions. And then in the afternoons, we went to these gurdwaras, which are Punjabi temples that they worship in. And it was definitely eye-opening for me. I know that I grew a lot just from experiencing a different culture.
On Sunday, we went to a Sikh center where we got to learn about the Sikh people.
We had to go in, we had to cover our heads, take our shoes off, so definitely different experience. There's no seats in any of the places because everyone's supposed to kind of have a equal feel.
And they invited us downstairs to the Lenga, where we got to eat lunch with them, and they were just so friendly to us. They were talking to us and trying to get to know us. After we finished eating the lunch, they invited us upstairs to the Gurdwara. Women were sitting on the right side, and then men were sitting on the left side. When we got there, we were just watching the service. There were drums and everyone was just coming in and out, praying and praying.
There was this carpet leading up to the front, and it was this huge altar with this big book, and there's music playing. And so they asked us if we wanted to walk up the carpet and walk around the book, because that's what they all were doing. They would go bow down to it. We didn't bow down to it, but we went up and we walked around it, and I remember feeling super tense. And I didn't want to be there. It felt I didn't feel at peace.
When I was going up there, I was a little anxious, and I don't know, my heart really was a little scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to pray because I was I don't want to worship another God other than my God. So I just started praying in my head, asking God to if there's any bad spirit around me to take it away from me. And as I was walking back, I was just looking into their eyes, and I don't know, something about their eyes looked so sad. They were like finding joy, but they couldn't find it. And I was just so sad to see that. I was like, these people been worshiping this God for like their entire life. They've given all their life and everything dedicated to their God, but their eyes just seemed tired. It seemed like they were in the wrong place. And I was just praying for them. I was like, God, I really pray for you to like guide them and to show them like your goodness and give them your joy, because they just, I don't know, I was like, they're looking for you in the wrong place.
I just remember praying like for the people. I was like, oh, they have so much devotion, but it's all towards something else that's not Jesus. My heart definitely breaks for these people because they have so much love and adoration for their God, and it's not the truth, and I want to help them in any way that I can. So this was definitely a good opportunity.
After that, we went to an Indian church, which we were like 1 hour late. We like missed our bus, but when we got there, the pastor was like, he seemed so happy. He was like, oh, there they are. And everyone just started saying hi. And like when I entered like the church, even though it was just like 5 people or like 10 people, I could just feel God present in that place. Like the people were so happy and like so dedicated to God. They were just like really looked so friendly. Their eyes were just full of joy. And the pastor, when he was like preaching, he was like so loud. And I was like, wow, I love this church. Like the spirit in his heart, you could just tell that God was with him. And I was so happy to see that there were other Indian people following God. Also after like the worship, the church, they also invited us downstairs where we got to eat dinner with them. The food was so amazing. They were talking to us. They were full of joy, and I was like, it's so crazy how it's just like 10 people, but they're still so happy to serve God. And I was just so inspired. I was like, I don't think it matters like how many people are in like the church. What matters is that in our heart, you know, even if they're just 10 people, in God's eyes, it's enough. And I was so happy that to just see them, and it really just made me happy that there were those people like Indian people worshiping God and like dedicating their life to God, and you could just see the joy in their eyes.
As a leader on the trip, something that I thought was really cool was seeing students embrace who they really are and how God has gifted them to advance His kingdom. I think some students maybe started out the week maybe hesitant or unsure of, okay, where do I fit in? How's this gonna go? But then to see by the end them fully embracing who they are and using those gifts to share the gospel, I think was really cool. I think it just goes to show like they're at their best when they are who God says they are. And I think I caught a glimpse of that on the trip as a leader, which was cool.
When we were in New York, we did different park ministry days. We did 2 of them towards the end of the week in our stay there. On the second one, I met this kid named James. We were playing basketball together, and that's kind of my gateway that I use, is just playing some hoops with him. And it was really cool, super sweet kid. He was 19 and going into his second year of college. We just talked about life for a little bit, and then actually religion got brought up pretty quick. And I found out he was agnostic. As we talked more, I found out he's gone to Catholic school like most of his life. Kind of as we continued in our conversation, it was hard because I learned he didn't believe in God. Even though he knew almost everything about the Bible, he just didn't believe or want to trust in God. So that was definitely hard. We had a bunch of different resources at this table. So yeah, I said, hey, if you want a Bible or like a little QR code for a church nearby, I can get you that real quick. So we walked over and I got him that. But it was really cool. Biggest answered prayer I saw all week happened here. And basically we were looking for a Bible for him in English, and I couldn't find one on the table. I went back and we had this like big white bin full of different stuff, and I was looking through it, and maybe for like a minute or so, and I couldn't find anything in there, no Bible, which I thought I saw one earlier, but I guess not. It must have been given away. So yeah, I looked through the bin for like a minute, couldn't find anything. So then Zach, one of the leaders, comes by. He looks through for another minute and couldn't find it. And then Brian comes by in a sec, and he looks by like through it for like a minute, and we just can't find a Bible in there or anything, like nothing really in English for him. So Zach kind of closes the box and he just prays over it like, God, if you want this kid James to have a Bible, like you got to do something, because like we don't have one. Immediately he opens it up and there's like a lime green Bible sitting on top. And it was really cool, and we were able to get it to him. And later on we even read through a little bit of John, and it was really cool.
I guess I noticed like an interesting shift between our 2 park days. So the first park day we were coming off of 2 really solid days of learning about our unreached people group, which I think produced a lot of excitement in our students to want to get after it and just start praying for people and engaging, which was really sweet. But I think as we moved throughout that day, we realized, oh, like we should go into it with like a prayerful posture and just seeing the park how maybe God would see it and being in tune with His moving and His timing. So not that anything bad happened that day, but it was just interesting to see from the first day kind of ready to go get it, and then the second day more from a posture of just being patient and being more reliant upon the Lord. One story in particular that I saw that happen on the second day, there was a couple students that got into a conversation with a gentleman that was, I would say he was very reluctant to the Spirit, and it was really discouraging for those 2 students to the point where they were unsure how to go about the rest of the day. Like how do I engage with people if this is the expectation of what might happen? But it was really cool to see them kind of go on a prayer walk to kind of reground themselves in the Lord, to refocus on Him, and then shortly after, both of them having just really sweet experiences with people, whether it was praying for them or listening to a story. God literally answered their prayers within a moment, which sometimes that takes a lifetime to see Him answer prayers. So to see God do that, to encourage them in that way was really cool and really stood out to me.
So I remember praying the night before like the second park day, and I was just praying that God would give me an opportunity to like share the gospel with someone and just like really make a connection. Because the first park day, like I met some people and prayed for some people, but I didn't really like get to share the gospel. And so I was also like kind of nervous and like scared, because usually it's a little awkward for me to like just go up to random people and like talk about Jesus. And so yeah, I just prayed that like God would give me an opportunity to share the gospel. And so we get to the park, me, Margaret, and Nate, we come up to these kids and we just like meet them, and it was definitely a little awkward and kind of rocky at first, but yeah, I was able to like share the gospel with them and talk about Jesus, and it was definitely like an encouragement to me. I was a little like upset, or not upset, but I just wanted to like see results. And so, but God showed me that like it's not up to me to like save them, and I know that I can have peace knowing that God will use that seed that's planted, and He can do anything and use it for His good.
I spent a lot of time praying for other people, and like lots of people were having success, they were having good conversations, and it was just really hard. It was like hard on my heart, because like I wanted so badly to have a conversation with somebody and feel like I was making an impact. So I thought it was my role to like pray for people. I was like, I can do that. So Zach called the group over and we were gonna pray for the conversations that were happening, and all of a sudden I just felt like this urge to like get up and go over near the bathrooms, and I didn't really know why, but so I guess I just got up and I went, and then I felt this physical pull as I got closer to the bathrooms, and then there was this guy and he was sitting all by himself just like looking at his phone, and I was like, all right, he's the one. And so I sat down, introduced myself, and I just asked if I could pray for him. And he was like, yeah, sure. And I asked him if he was religious. He was like, no, not really. I kind of just live for myself. He used to be a Hindu, and then he used to be a Christian, but both left him feeling empty. And I was like, what happened like when you were a Christian? And he said that a Christian that had come up to him and invited him to church was just asking for money when he got to the church, and he was like, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was like, that is not what Christianity is about at all. So then I asked to share my story with him. So I shared my testimony, and I could definitely tell that he was connecting, and he definitely was understanding what I was saying. So that was really cool. But then after we kind of moved on from that topic, we just got talking for like an hour, just about life and about his job and like where he had come from. So that was really, really cool. And by the end of the conversation, I was able to pray for him again. And I referenced him to a couple of Christian churches that were in the area. I don't know if that conversation was for him or if it was for me, because I knew that God had answered my prayer, because I wanted so badly to have that conversation. And he just filled me with overwhelming joy, leaving that conversation, and it was really, really cool.
One of my biggest highlights in New York City was the second park day of ministry was, I was talking to a couple people, felt pretty discouraged. I'd gone off of 3 conversations of just, nobody really wanted to know, and some of the people were super defensive about what they believed in, and so it was pretty hard to talk to some of them, but I just felt pretty discouraged. And then I talked to Anna and Nate about it, and they were like, okay, well, let's go walk around the park and see if we can see anybody. And before we even got to the spot where we walked out, this lady like physically reached out to us and said, please come pray for my leg, come pray for my leg. And so we like went over to her and like knelt down next to her and sat with her. And within like 15 seconds of us being there, she just started crying, and she just opened up to us about what was going on. She had leg problems with surgery and stuff like that. And so we got to pray for her. And I just thought that was so cool, going off of 3 different conversations where these people just did not want to talk, super defensive about what they believed in. And that's fine. I was expecting to not be able to talk to some of these people, but then it was cool to be able to see, you know, God really is just working the entire time in those little conversations that just kind of boost the morale.
I think I saw God at work most through answered prayers. One specifically that I remember the most, probably because I was the one with the prayer, was I was a little worried about my broken arm since I just broke it pretty recently, and obviously I wanted it to heal well. And so the day before, I was playing volleyball at the park when we were on a park/ministry day, and a volleyball came and hit the bottom of my cast. It hurt where I broke my arm in a way that it hadn't before, so I was a little worried about it. But then the next day I saw a picture. There's like a beam of light shining directly where I broke my arm. Maybe it wasn't necessarily God saying that He was healing it, but if nothing else, at least confirmation that it was in God's hands and that He has a plan for it. One way I grew on the trip was getting out of my comfort zone. I think God helped me a lot with that. That was actually one of the answered prayers on this trip. A big reason actually why I went is because I wanted to be able to share with people, even though that was well out of my comfort zone. And I think the biggest way that God helped with this is during one of the ministry days, there was a guy who kind of looked like he wanted someone to talk to. I wasn't quite sure, but I didn't want to go up to him because I didn't know how to start the conversation. I had no idea. But then I finally just decided, and was like, you know what, if God wants me to go do this, He'll give me some way to start it. I started the conversation with him a little awkwardly, but then it ended up working out fine. He asked about my arm. I told him how I recently broke it. Super easily we got into conversation, and it really wasn't awkward at all, so it was really cool.
I think one thing I learned was like as Christians, we should be open to like go outside our comfort zone and like learn about other people's religions. The experience I had in New York City was like we should be open and go and listen to their story, because you never know, by just you going there and sharing like your story and like what God have done in your life, you are gonna save a life. We should open and like don't judge and just go there with an open heart and open-minded, and just bring God in the center of the conversation. And some tools I learned were, when you go in the conversation, don't go with your own agendas, and go there and listen and not judge. When we went to the park, like I got this anxiety to just like go up to people and like start like talking about God, but like by just me praying and like asking God like for the Holy Spirit to be with me, like in every conversation I went, I felt like He gave me word to speak, and like yeah, all the conversation went well because like God was with me in those moments, and He took all the fears that I had.
Since I was young, I had a bad dream. So when I go to New York, I decided to open it, like to show God how I can't sleep at night, how like I feel bad about my bad dream. So I decided to open up my story to show like I'm not feeling good about this, and then to tell God like I need my life to change. So I talked to Allison and Sandrine and Brian about my bad dream. So they prayed for me. When they told me to close my eyes, God showed up, and then I see the gate, I see the white gate, and then it was just me. I do not see anybody. I was so happy. I clapped my hands, and then it was the good thing I never seen in my life. God changed my life when I was in New York, and then right now I sleep really good. God helped me to open my eyes. I can't dream bad thing anymore. So God is good. Maybe my story can help other people to learn how God is good.
As you've been hearing stories from the students, one of the big themes that really came out throughout the week was just God answering prayer in the small things and in the big things. In small ways, God showed up daily with our students and with our leaders and the other campers. And in big things, God really showed up. We had a student who went from having really scary, hard, bad dreams to no longer having those dreams. We had God show up by providing a Bible for an individual that we were working with. And there were just so many other incredible moments where students got to see God answering prayers. It's a beautiful thing to watch the connection students make between Culture Camp, this time in New York City, in a place that many of them have never been before, and then bring it home. They make this beautiful connection between the tools that they've learned during this week and how they might apply those back here in Missoula. And so we're excited to see where God takes this week's experience into the coming days.
Yeah, we're so grateful for God's faithfulness to have just shown up all over the week. And we're really expectant for how God will continue to be faithful in the seeds that were planted there in the city, and also just the work that he was doing in and through the students as we transition back to Missoula. And we're so grateful to you and your partnership in making a trip like this possible. And so we just wanted to say thank you for your investment in this group of high schoolers.